Now, it's widely understood that an animal or animals were sacrificed in order for these garments of skin to be made for both Adam and Eve. And isn't that odd? Seriously. Because why didn't God make them out of some kind of fabric? Why didn't God take the silk from a silkworm and make a beautiful robe? Why didn't God take cotton and weave them some clothes? He could have done that. He makes garments for the angels. Why couldn't he make a garment for them? Of all of the things that God could have used to make Adam and Eve clothes, he chose to make a sacrifice to give them a covering, and this sacrifice would result in spilled blood. Could you imagine Adam and Eve, who have been living in the garden of beauty and the abundance of life? They had never experienced or witnessed death. And therefore, they watch as an innocent animal is put to death in order to clothe them. Some of you had some animals that you love dearly that you've had to put down, and the emotions that come over you are just too much. Could you imagine watching these animals or animal be killed? Could you imagine the emotional impact they felt as the consequences of their mistakes were being placed on this innocent life? Yet God, wanting to clothe them in order to cover their nakedness and help them to not hide from Him when He came around, He made clothes of skin to not only clothe their physical nakedness, but to help cover their spiritual nakedness, and to help them feel comfortable approaching God once again. This practice of spilling blood to cover the sins of a person was set up as the original covenant between God and the Israelites. They were to sacrifice and spill the blood of a perfect, innocent animal in order to cover their sins and bring them into communion with God. Jesus at the Last Supper tells them that His blood would be spilled and it would be the new covenant. That is, His blood would be spilled. He would be sacrificed in order to cover our sins so that we may be able to come before God. That's why He says boldly approach, because we don't show up in leaves. We don't show up in our own man-made materials. We show up in what God has clothed us with, the sacrifice of His Son.